You make bad decisions, I make bad decisions, everyone makes bad decisions. I frequently found myself asking, why do I do that? So in this video, I'm gonna explain 3 things I've learned that explain why we make bad decisions. And at the end of the video, I'll explain something you can do about it. So let's dive in. My first point is that we all have 2 minds. Daniel Kahneman, this guy's a Nobel Prize winner for his research on human judgment decision-making. He made this framework that explains why a lot of the times our decisions aren't rational. He says we have 2 systems of thinking. System 1 consists of thinking that is intuitive, automatic, and relatively unconscious. We do it without thinking. System 2 is reflective, controlled, and analytical. I like to think of it like System 1 is sort of like a gut feeling we get from our first impressions, while System 2 is the rational babysitter that keeps a check on this automatic behavior, even if it isn't successful a lot of the time. So, most people know the value of our rational thinking, but our emotions are important too. They can serve as warning signs, they can motivate us to change, they can connect us to others through things like empathy. And let me share an example of the helpfulness of emotions. Imagine this. You are walking in the forest. You lock eyes with something through the brush. It's a tiger, and it's slowly walking towards you. You don't have time to think. That's when your System 1 emotional brain can kick it into gear and get you out of there to live another day with all of your limbs still attached. In this sense, our emotions and gut instincts are crucial to our survival and decision making. On the other hand, we can get carried away by our emotions if we let them, and this can lead to poor choices. And that leads us to point number 2. As humans, we are limited, right? We have a body that we're inside. We only have 24 hours in a day. We're born with certain genetics, right? We only have so much energy and so much attention to dedicate to the things that we want. After you get home from a 12-hour shift, the pizza rolls start to look pretty good in the back of the freezer, even if you knew rationally that your goal was to lose 10 pounds. On top of that, there is a million different things our brain can focus on in any given moment. There's so much information out there, and a lot of times we just don't see that a better option exists compared to what we're doing. And even if we do know what to do, we don't know how to motivate ourselves to do the right thing and put the pizza rolls in the back of the freezer. So how do our minds handle these limitations? That brings me to my last point, is that our minds use shortcuts. Right? Our brain uses this insane amount of energy. I was reading somewhere that although our brain makes up around 2% of our body weight, it burns around 20% of the energy we consume. That is crazy, and our brains just need to be efficient to deal with that. It's already working on hyper overdrive compared to other animals. So to deal with that, our brain uses these mental shortcuts. You might have heard them referred to as like heuristics, cognitive biases, even just like habits to make our decisions. And these shortcuts are necessary, right? They help us navigate this extremely noisy world with a million things to focus on. But, sometimes it can lead us to acting against our best intentions. I'll give you an example of one of those biases, and that is negativity bias. Our brains pay more attention to the negative stuff than the positive stuff. For example, we can get 100 compliments, but you remember that one hurtful comment that David made to you in 2nd grade gym class. I know this has all sounded pretty negative so far, but there are plenty of things we can do to make better decisions, and I'll leave you with one easy one to start. Just learn about a few of the cognitive biases that affect our decision making. I know that sounds nerdy, but I'll leave a link down below of an article I found that explains some of the common ones we deal with. I think it's super important to know the existence of these shortcuts, because when we can start to realize how these shortcuts are affecting our decisions, we can catch our bad decisions in the process and explain, oh, why might have our brains been doing that, instead of just going to the default of blaming ourselves for not having the discipline of David Goggins. I would love to get more into these cognitive biases, but that is for future Ryan to make videos on. So I will leave it at that. So that's the video. If you liked it, I'll have another linked here. Thank you so much for watching, and have a great rest of your day. Bye-bye.